when we get close to Gimmel Tammuz, the heart of every chassid overflows with feeling of hiskashrus to the Rebbe, feeling of yearning, even more than it was before, because when the Rebbe was here physically with us, we were able to see him physically, so you had him. But now, when he's not here and Gimmel Tammuz comes around, you start feeling the yearning that you really want to connect again, because you feel, so to speak, that you're missing. And what you have to do is do things to bring it down, that you should feel the hiskashrus more, you should bring it down more in a practical way, and also in a positive way, not always only that you should feel that you're missing, you should also feel that you're filling that void that you're missing because you don't see the Rebbe physically. The main way, and not that I'm trying to say that the other ways are not, but the first and foremost way of connecting to the Rebbe is really through learning the Rebbe's Torah. We know that the Rebbe Rashab, before he passed away on Beis Nisan Tov Reish Pei, he said to the Chassidim, Ich gehe in Himmel und ich sovim los ich euch. I'm going to heaven, and my writings I'm leaving to you. And the Rebbe has explained in many Farbrengens many times that what it meant is not just he's telling him I'm leaving you my writings. Well, obviously he was leaving the writings. He meant to say that even though I'm leaving physically, but I'm really going to stay here connected to you and you connected to me through my writings. Now, truth is that we are still connected to the Rebbe through other ways, through to doing what the Rebbe wants, through doing mitzvahim, through doing all kinds of things. Why did the Rebbe Rashab pick, when he wanted to show the way the Rebbe explains his words, he wanted to show that you still will remain connected to me, he picked that he's leaving his ksovim, he's leaving his writings. Obviously, without getting into the details of getting into much philosophy here, it seems like the real connection that you were able to have to the Rebbe, after physically you do not see him and you do not hear him, is through learning the Rebbe's Torah. It says by Matan Torah, when Hashem gave us the Torah, it says the first word was Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. And the Gemara tells us that the word Anochi is made up of, it's abbreviation of 4 words, Ano Nafshik Sovis Yehovis, which means I myself, Hashem himself says, I gave myself and wrote myself into the Torah. And the Medrash says that tzaddikim deima lebeiram, the same thing applies to tzaddikim. The Rebbe put himself into the Torah. So when you learn the Rebbe's Torah, basically you actually have the Rebbe there. So if we're looking for ways to connect to the Rebbe, it is through learning the Rebbe's Torah. And I'll tell you the truth, physically, how much effort and time the Rebbe put into his Torah. People don't really know how many hours the Rebbe spent in his Torah. First of all, the hours that he spent during the Farbrengens, and then the hours that the Rebbe spent many hours in editing the Torah, editing his sichas and the Maimorim, and we have the letters, the igres, and then we have the rishimas. But the Rebbe put himself into his Torah. And when we learn the Torah of the Rebbe, we feel connected to the Rebbe. It actually brings out a feeling. And I'll tell you even more, it's even more to a certain degree than other things, because let's say a person goes to Mivtzoyim, and he does what the Rebbe wants. So he's connected because he's doing what the Rebbe wants. What he's doing is something that's good without the Rebbe telling him. The reason there is a hiskashrus there, because he's doing it because the Rebbe asked him to do it, so he connects to the Rebbe. But the words of the Rebbe, those are the words of the Rebbe himself. When you learn the Rebbe's Torah, you actually connect yourself to the Rebbe the way he put himself into the Torah. Besides the fact that if you want to fulfill the Rebbe's instructions, you have to first learn. The Gemara says that Godel Talmud shemevi lidei maaseh. The Talmud says we have learning Torah, and then we have the actions, the mitzvahs of Torah. And the Talmud has a discussion which one is greater. And they came to a decision, the Chachamim, the sages came to a decision that Godel Talmud shemevi lidei maaseh. Learning is greater because that will bring you to action, and you will have both. So if you learn the Rebbe's Torah, you see what the Rebbe wants, especially if you learn the letters of the Rebbe. But anything that you learn, the Rebbe gives all the direction that we need. You'll find it in the Rebbe's Torah. And then there's another thing here. When you learn the Rebbe's Torah, it brings you back to relive the feeling you had when the Rebbe said these Torahs. Tov Shin Yud, after the passing of the previous Rebbe, the Rebbe said one of the things Chassidim should do for hiskashrus is from time to time think in your mind, imagine you're going into Yechidus to the Rebbe. Imagine sitting by a Farbrengen with the Rebbe. And when you relive that, you actually are there, and you are there with the Rebbe. The Baal Shem Tov said, "B'mokim shemachshavte shalodom shomo nimtza," where a person's mind is, that's where he really is. He's real. He is there. If you learn a sikh of the Rebbe, and it reminds you the setting of the Farbrengen, and it brings back the feeling you had during the Farbrengen, you are actually there by the Farbrengen. And you really feel your connection to the Rebbe then, which is something that you feel only through this. When you do what the Rebbe says, which you must do what the Rebbe says, that comes afterwards. But the first thing is to feel connected to the Rebbe by remembering and imagining and reliving the Farbrengen that you attended, or even if you didn't attend that Farbrengen, you relive the Farbrengen that you imagined the way the Farbrengens were. And it brings a personal connection between you to the Rebbe. It's hard in words to describe what feeling we used to have when we actually stood by the Rebbe's Farbrengen. The feeling, yeah, besides the general feeling that you felt that you're mamish in Gan Eden, but besides that, that brought out in each one of us a personal connection to the Rebbe. You're sitting there, you're watching the Rebbe, you're listening to the Rebbe. It made a certain connection. True, it doesn't come to the connection that we had when we went personally into Yechidus, because then you were yourself with the Rebbe. That connection you can't describe, you can't duplicate it. No way we could duplicate it. But even by the Farbrengen, you actually got the feeling of this connection to the Rebbe. When you learn the Rebbe's Torah, this all comes back, and you get connected to the Rebbe, and you have the source of from where you're going to take all the lessons. So this is the first thing. The first thing is comes to Gimmel Tammuz, and we're preparing now, very close to Gimmel Tammuz, and our heart is full of feeling towards the Rebbe, and we're looking for what to do. What hachlotes should we make? What resolution should we take upon ourselves in order to strengthen our hiskashrus? Because every chosid, one person that's a follower of Lubavitch or connected to Lubavitch or ever was inspired by the Rebbe in any form or shape, comes to this day, how could he not feel that connection to the Rebbe? And we're looking for ways. So the first and foremost thing is to make a decision and take a resolution upon oneself to start learning more the Rebbe's Torah. And we will see that when we learn more the Rebbe's Torah comes into our mind, and that gives us the feeling of hiskashrus. And automatically, well, not really so automatically, but it'll help us in order to continue and do what the Rebbe wants. And we hope we will all be inspired, and we will all take this resolution upon ourselves. And then we hope that this will lead us to follow everything else that the Rebbe says. And very, very soon we will actually see the Rebbe with the coming of Mashiach. V'meira b'yameinu mamish.